Alright, what's up guys? I'm going to show you guys how to make this sort of kill the noise talking growl bass. So the way I did it was I used a recording of my voice, a vocoder, and a massive patch I made. So it sounds very simple, but there's a lot of complicated things going on. But if you guys don't know of this technique, then you're going to learn a lot of cool stuff. But once you got this sort of technique down, it's very easy to do, and it's probably the easiest way to get the most filthy talking bass sounds ever. Like really, like especially if you're using FM synthesis with this sort of thing. But that doesn't really matter. What I'm gonna show you guys is first the audio track here, and I'm just gonna play it with the vocoder off so you guys can hear the original recording of this. So this is just my voice talking, and I'll let you guys hear it. So as you can see, I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't trying to mimic like a wobble or anything. I was just, just messing around, making some random noises. And once I turn on the vocoder, now it's receiving information from the patch I made. So which is just a massive patch. I'll show you guys how to make that in a sec. And so now that's receiving the audio from the massive. Now it's gonna modulate it, and so it went from sounding like this to this. So you can do this with any kind of original audio. You can do this with just about a lot of things, and it's a really unlimited possibilities to sound design sort of thing. So you could use this for so much more than just making growl talking basses, but I know you guys want to learn how to do that, so let's get into it. I'll show you guys what I did here on the vocoder. So as you can see here, I just I went to external right here, which allows me to select audio from another source. And I went here and I selected my 17 massive, which is the patch I made, and I made sure I was on post FX, so that way I'm getting the signal from right after the path of where all my little extra external processing happens. So if I went here into pre-FX, I would just get the sound straight out massive, but going to post, that means I get all of these things in the signal with it. So that's where you want to be, right here with post. And for this, you guys can just sort of copy that down. I'm not gonna really go into explaining what these do, because vocoders are not complicated, but there's just some things you should know. And the cool thing about vocoders is that I can shape the sound however I want using this box here. And I brought it up to 28 bands, so I just have more bands to play with. So I'm just gonna leave it blank right now, so that you guys can hear how it is for the sake of tutorial. But yeah, you could definitely use this to craft the sound even more. And let's see. I just brought up the depth a bit, so the more it is to the left, the more it sounds like where it's getting the audio from. So in that case, that's massive. And the more I turn it to the right, the more it starts to sound like the clip. So you can kind of play around with that. I kind of, you can have it all the way up at 100 and it'll sound really cool. So I'll leave it right around 60% where I had it at. And for attack, it's all the way down. Release is at 150 milliseconds. Dry wet's all the way up. And that's pretty much it. You probably noticed that I grouped this vocoder so that I could get a little bit of macros right here on this. There's two ways you can use macros in Ableton. You can press Command M, and you can select any parameter inside of Ableton or inside of a VST inside of Ableton, and you'll be able to control it with a keyboard. Or you could just press Command G once you've selected something like or like anything. So if I'm just gonna make an example of this compressor. I'm just gonna press Command G. It's now grouped, and now when I pull this little circle out, I can assign any of these parameters to a macro, but I don't want to do that because it's a compressor. And let's see. Okay, so to do that, you just press map, you select on the parameter you want. In this case, it was formant, and then I just dragged it over here. And the reason why I brought this into its own little macros, so I could play around with the formant of the sound, and I'll just show you guys what that does. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff you can do. You can automate this and really get some crazy stuff out of it. So if you guys don't know how to use automation in Ableton Live, you pretty much select on this parameter here, and it gives you the automation path for it here. So if I click on something else, like let's see, I click on the ratio of my compressor, you can see just by clicking on it, it's giving me the automation for it. And now I'm going to click back into form and sound, and I'm just going to press Command B. If you're on PC, that might be something like Alt, or no, that wouldn't be right. Control, that would be Control for you guys, I think, on PC. And so now, where did my pencil tool go? So, okay, now I can just draw in automation. And you can see that this was moving according to what was going on here. But, and also you don't want to have, with some things you don't want to have it so square and pointy, so you might want to just make it, so square, so you want to make it kind of pointy so it kind of glides. So, that's just, I'm just showing you guys that for whatever you guys are going to use this for, you guys can just go ahead and play around with that. And like I said, just some compressing here, some side chaining, and sausage fanners, just adding a little bit loudness and color, just because it's a little quiet by itself. And that's that. So I've explained everything that's going on with the vocoder. Let's get into massive to end this video. Again, all that's going on here is some compression, some sidechain compression, and a wow filter, and some EQ. I'm going to turn off the wow filter so you guys can just hear the patch by itself. And with it on. So yeah, wow filter plays a nice part into this and adds more character into it, but we're just going to make the patch by itself real quick. So this patch is going to be included in my next massive preset pack, along with some well, maybe not this exact one, but I'm gonna, well, now that I'm showing it to you guys, and now I have to make another one because you guys aren't gonna buy something that you've already seen how to make. But yeah, I'll probably make whatever ends up in the pack a lot sicker. I just kind of threw this all together real quick because I just wanted to make a vocoder talking bass thing. Anyway, so let's get into this. And you're going to want to go new sound, by the way, just so you have a clean slate here inside of massive. And now you're ready to go to voicing, which will be the first thing we do. We're going to select we're going to leave this on 16 and bring this up to 2. That's our voicing right here, and we're going to put this on monophone and legato. And now we're going to go over here to our oscillator tab, and we're going to turn on the oscillator phases. So what this does is it starts all the waves or oscillators at the same point over and over. So between each MIDI trigger and whatever, it kind of plays it over again. So that just helps make the sound more consistent and less random. And then I just brought up the glide a bit. And that's pretty much it for these tabs. There's no LFOs or anything like that going on. And Now we're going to go into Oscillator 1. So Oscillator 1 is just a Fender's 1, and it's on bend minus. All the oscillators here are on bend minus plus, so you can put them all to bend minus plus. All their amps are up all the way. All the filters 1 and 2, they're right down the middle in between all those. And for filter, and you can see that wavetable position and intensity up are all the way up in Oscillator 1, and this is just down an octave, and I dragged in a macro here, so I just clicked on the little crosshair here, and I just dragged it in here, and I left it at 0. Oh, and I'll throw in a quick tip. If you're inside Massive and you're holding down Option key, or I think on PC that'd be the Alt key, you can quickly go up and down the octaves holding down Option or Alt, just like that. So that's a quick way to move up and down through octaves in the pitch boxes here in Massive. And yeah, it's just so much better than clicking up and down and stuff like that. So okay, Oscillator 2 now. This one's also down an octave. This is a disto, and this is, of course, like I said earlier, a bend minus plus. Wavetables up all the way, intensities all the way down, and you're gonna bring in this macro here and drop it. Sorry guys, I'm like sounding like a retard here, can't even speak. You're gonna drop this in here, and you're gonna drag it up all the way to the right, and amp is up all the way. Oscillator 3, we're going to use this wave right here, and this is a good digital wave that I like to use, which is kind of an interesting combination with the analog electric stuff. And just again, we're going to leave the pitch right here at 0. We're going to bring our wavetable position all the way down. We're going to drag in this macro here, which I called master because it controls everything inside of it, so it is like the master macro. And it's gonna just we're gonna drop it in here, drag it all the way to the right. Intensity is where it is by default, which is just a little bit above the end of this right here, so it's not all the way up, but it's like a little bit right there. You see where amp is, and that's that for oscillators. Now let's go into our modulation oscillators. So all I did here was I selected my third oscillator and just put the phase on it. So you can see that I can select my oscillators here with this little window. So I just clicked on 3, and that gave me that. And I just brought the phase all the way down, dragged in the same macro that we used on the other oscillators, and we're just gonna bring it up to here. And that's that for that. Now let's do feedback real quick. So feedback has been routed all the way to filter 2. And you can see I dragged this up to like 3 o'clock. And I just dragged in this one macro right here into right here, and dragged all the way to the left. So that way you can just drag it all the way down if you don't want feedback, or all the way up if you do. And let's see, let's go into filter. So this is just a comb filter. Pitch is all the way down, dampening is all the way down, but then I brought in this macro once again in here and dragged it and dropped it, and brought this one up all the way and brought this one up to around here. Feedback is sort of pointing at the G right here, and this is up all the way. And notice real quick that my mix 1 and 2 is just like 4 or 3 lines above the halfway mark. And for filter 2, I selected a scream. Cutoff is right there in the middle. Scream is kind of pointing right there. Reso is at like 3 o'clock, and I dragged in that macro once again. Let's do our inserts now that we're done with filters. This is just a sine shaper, and you can see where I drag those in, so you guys can copy that down and get those macros in there also. Insert 2 is just a sine sample and hold, I mean. So this is kind of doing some really interesting stuff with the pitch and things like that. So dry wet's up all the way, pitch is sort of around 9 o'clock. And okay, let's go into our FX1 now. So dry wet and size are sort of in the same position. They're kind of pointing towards 9 o'clock. Dry wet's just sort of a little bit down, and size is kind of a little bit above 9 o'clock position. And let's go into phaser. our phaser is doing some really cool stuff here, so this is kind of important here. Feedback and depth are kind of just slightly above halfway. Rate is right smack down in the middle, and dry wet is all the way down, and we're going to bring this macro in once again and place it around there. And so what this does, now that we're done with massive, you can see that I configured the macro that I called master, which is macro 2, which is on everything. I brought it down here so I could click on it real quick, and then I get my automation channel right here, and I can just draw in some automation for that. But I don't need to do that because I have my keyboard. If it didn't fall asleep on me, it should be working. There we go. So you can see that I'm just moving that around, and we're gonna hear what this sounds like. So that's pretty cool. Okay, actually I think my automation went to my clip here. Yeah, so that's the automation that's going on. It went to my clip, as it will do sometimes, instead of right here, so beware of that sort of thing. And no, so that's now the massive patch. You've seen that. Let me think. Okay, there's one thing I forgot to mention, and it's the wow filter. So now we're gonna turn on the wow filter so you can hear the difference between that. So it's adding in even more of that talking characteristic. So what you guys are going to want to do is go to user and go to default, or just let's see, I think that's where you go for the default. And once you go to the default, you go up in here and select a band reject. You're going to place the overdrive a little bit above 30, cutoff above 300 slightly, reso somewhere in between 70 and 100, and you're going to want to right click here on this center knob, and you're going to want to bring the LFO up a bit so you can see that this little white line is the LFO that I dragged in. So you can see I could kind of do that sort of stuff here. And let's see, the LFO is just on a 1/8 rate, so you can see that. And this is just a saw wave, and the sensitivity is at -24 dB. Mixes up almost all the way, and master is at 100. So the end result would be this right here. And let's see. That's pretty much it, you guys. So if you guys like this, let me know. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps us out. Helps us know what you guys like and don't like. So if I get a lot of likes on this video, then I know to keep kind of going further into these sort of sounds and stuff like that. Also, you guys, if you guys have some time, you guys can check out some tutorials on my other channel, which should be linked down below. I have more stuff kind of like this, but for right now, this is sort of the channel I'm mainly uploading on. And that's pretty much it, you guys. So thanks for watching.